I am continuing today with the series that I've been doing on meeting with Jesus in the now, connecting with God today in the present. I wanted to speak this morning to you guys about a scripture that has to do with seeing the Lord. In 2 Corinthians chapter 3, it says that we all who with unveiled faces behold the Lord as in a mirror are being transformed into his image with ever increasing glory. And all of this comes from the Lord who is the Spirit. Guys, there is something transformative about seeing Jesus, about beholding the Lord. I think a lot of times people, when they want to connect with the Lord, they think they need to have this conversation, this in-depth back and forth, and they judge whether it's a real connection with the Lord by whether they're hearing him say something. And I want to say to all the people out there that feel that if they're not hearing the Lord speak to them clearly, if they're not hearing full sentences, if the Lord's not constantly talking to you or, having some transformative, powerful statement that he's making to you, then, God may not really be speaking to you. I want you to put your mind and your heart at ease that is not necessary. When you know the Lord, it's like having a relationship with a human being that you know and care about in your life. There doesn't need to be conversation in order for there to be connection. It says in that scripture in 2 Corinthians that as we behold the Lord, as we look at Jesus, we are transformed by seeing him. The reason why it's so transformative to see the Lord is because of the goodness of who God is. God is the one, the true God, the living God, our Father is the one that every good gift, every goodness that is in our lives is flowing out of who he is. So if you are truly seeing the Lord, it will transform your life. There doesn't need to be words. There doesn't need to be a conversation. In fact, I think some of the most transformative work that God can do in our lives is simply by beholding him, by seeing the Lord. In one of John's letters, I think it's 1 John, he says that when the Lord comes, we know that we will be like him because we see him as he really is. So, do you see the Lord? I want to help you right now with that. I want to do it with you, and I want to walk you into that, and then I want to leave you, and I want to encourage you just to sit and be with Jesus. There is, for me in my own life, I think that's the most transformative, deep heart change that God brings into my life and has brought into my life in my history with him is just by seeing who he really is. When you see the goodness of the Lord, it is literally like food for your soul. It is living water. It's the bread of life. There's a million ways you can say it. Seeing the Lord in his glory, in his goodness. I'm not talking about a vision of a man, on the throne of heaven. That's all well and good and has its place. I'm talking about spirit to spirit connection. So how do you do that? It's so almost offensively easy to connect personally with Jesus and to see him. This is what you do. You find a quiet place. Right now, I'm in a parking lot at a grocery store. I'm sitting in my car. It doesn't need to be some special spot, but just a quiet place where you're alone. And what you do is you turn to the one who is already here in our midst. You turn to the light. When I say the light, I'm talking about the sense of the goodness. It's really God's presence, but the goodness, if you have any peace, Paul says, if you have any peace, any joy, any consolation, and then he goes on to say something else, any peace that is in your midst, turn to that peace, turn to the goodness that is flowing to you right now, because the fact is that is like a trail of breadcrumbs that leads, if you follow it to its source, to the one who every good gift flows from. It actually comes from the Lord. So if you can find the light, any goodness that's in your presence right now, and then follow that by faith to where it's coming from, you will see the Lord. I don't see the picture of a human face. I don't see a human body. When I say I'm seeing the Lord, I'm not seeing the man, the person, or I'm not seeing an angel with wings. It's so much deeper than that. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be insulting to people that have visions. Visions are amazing, but there's something deeper than a visual, because a visual is still outward. It's heart to heart. It's literally, you are touching God himself. When we turn to the one who is in the light by faith, we meet with the Lord. And if that doesn't make sense to you, it says in 1 Corinthians, Paul says that we speak of spiritual things with spirit-taught words. And so I want to challenge you that if it doesn't make sense to you what I'm saying, that you connect with the Lord himself by turning to the light, and then by faith beholding the one that light, that goodness is flowing from. I want to challenge you, encourage you, sit in those words that I'm speaking and let the Lord reveal the substance, the reality of what I am talking about. Because when I turn to the light and I behold the one that every good gift in my life is coming from, by faith, I see the Lord. And then I just sit there in that encounter. That is the most transformative thing that God can do in your heart, because I'm literally feeding upon the bread of heaven, the Lord himself. I am connecting with Jesus himself. It's not a vision. It's not a picture. It's not a sign. It's not an encouraging word. It's what those words and those signs are pointing to. I am connecting with the living God. And that is where maturity lies. That is where we grow up in the Spirit. When we grow up in God is when we learn how to just sit and behold the Lord. And the promise in that first verse I spoke to you is that as we sit there, you don't need to literally be sitting, although it's helpful maybe to be in that quiet place sitting, but as we sit, spiritually, beholding the Lord, it says we are transformed into his image. Not like we look like him, we are literally beholding him and becoming one with him. And our hearts receive the light and the love and the goodness and the power and the wisdom of his very being inside of us. And we drink it in and we are filled. It's better than having a conversation. It's deeper than getting a prophetic word. If you're reading the Bible and it's inspiring you, the ancient mystics said when the words of the Bible touch you, stop reading and go sit in what the Lord is revealing to you. Because why? Because the whole point in reading the scripture is to find the one that the scriptures are pointing to. And when you are touched by the Lord himself, I'm seeing you sit in that. and you will be transformed into his image. There's nothing more powerful than what I'm talking about, guys. And so I just want to encourage you and challenge you that if this is a mystery to you, what I'm saying, sit in that mystery. Let it marinate in your soul. Let the Lord open up to you the realities that I am speaking about, because this is how we come to commune with God. This is how we grow in our relationship, the depth of our knowing him, not knowing about him, knowing him personally. It's so profound. My words cannot express what I'm actually talking about, but I encourage you to pursue it, because there is eternal blessing in what I am saying. And I pray you find it. God bless you guys, and hope to talk again soon. Thanks.